In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this gorgeous cardigan. You can use any type of yarn to make this one. I've made one with 4-ply and super chunky. You can use any type of yarn to make this cardigan. I'm going to use this super chunky one, and it requires a 7mm crochet hook, so this is what I'm using. And I need about 900 grams of this yarn for my medium size cardi. So first we're going to make a slip knot. Get your hook and make chain 3. And now we will make a treble crochet into the very first chain. So yarn over twice and go into first chain and make your treble crochet into that chain, and then again chain 3 followed by a treble crochet on the top of that previous treble what you made. So let's do this again. Chain 3 first, and then yarn over twice to make your treble, go on the top of that previous treble stitch and do your new treble crochet into that stitch, and you'll keep doing that until you have made 9 of these loops. So you can pause your video now and make your 9 loops. I have now done my 9 loops, and we're now going to slip stitch into that loop where your hook is to start your first round. First round we start with chain 4, which counts as a double crochet, and chain 1, and then make another double crochet into the same loop. Now into the next loop we're going to make a double crochet, chain 1 and a double crochet, which is also known as V-stitch, and we're going to do these V-stitches into the next 3 loops. So that's the second one, and then we'll do one more into the next loop and into the loop after this we're going to create our first corner. So go into this loop and make your V-stitch like before with double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet, and then chain 3, which will become your corner space, and follow that with another V-stitch into this same loop. So this is the corner here, and it's got 2 V-stitches on the side of it. Now next 3 loops you go into just do your 3 V-stitches, so 1 into each of the next loop until you get to the very last loop, and then we're going to create 2 corners into this space now. So make a V-stitch first, then chain 3, which will become a corner, followed by a V-stitch, so that means a double crochet, chain 1 and a double crochet, then chain 3 again for the next corner, and go into the same loop and make a V-stitch, and that turned your work around, so you can now work on the opposite side, and you have created 2 more corners. So going into the same loops on the other side, make a normal V-stitch into next 3 loops. So when you've done that 3 times, you are going to create the next corner. So go in to the next loop, make a V-stitch, and then after you've finished your V-stitch, make your chain 3, which will be your corner space, and then another V-stitch into that same space where you've actually been working in, and there's another corner made. And now again we're going to do these V-stitches into the next 3 loops, just 1 V-stitch per loop till you get into the end of this round, and into the final loop we're going to create 2 more corners. So let's do the V-stitch first, followed by chain 3 for the next corner space, and then another V-stitch, and that's created another corner for us. And now to finish off, I'm going to chain 1 and then find the 3rd chain from your original chain 4 and make a double crochet into that chain, so that you will end up in the middle of your corner to finish off this round. And then you can slip stitch into that space just to finish off the round, so you'll be in the right spot to start your round 2. This is what your work will look like, and you have made your 6 corners all the way around. You can mark them with stitch markers just to make them easier for you to find. And let's start our next round, which will be a popcorn round. We will start with chain 3, and that will be counted as a double crochet, and we will make another 4 double crochet stitches into the same space, so we can make them into the popcorn stitch. So once you've made your 4 stitches, take your hook out and put it through from front to back on the top of that first chain 3, and then through your loop, pull through loop, and then chain 1 to finish off your popcorn. Then chain 2 in between each popcorn, and we're now going to make another popcorn into the next V-stitch. So to do that, we're first going to make 5 double crochet stitches into the V-stitch, so where your chain 1 was in the previous round, in the middle of 2 double crochet stitches, and then take your hook out, put it through the top of your first double crochet and through the working loop, and then chain 1 to close your popcorn. Chain 2 before you start your next popcorn, and go into the next V-stitch to make your 5 double crochet stitches into this space, and then we're closing this together to make a popcorn. And this is what we will be doing into every V-stitch, but in the corners we are going to do something just a little bit different. So I'm going to show you that once we get to this first corner space we created in the previous round. So if you had put your stitch markers into corner spaces, it's quite easy to find. Otherwise you'll see that it's a chain 3 instead of a normal chain 1 in the V-stitches. So we made it into the first corner space. We're going to make our first popcorn as we did before. So make your 5 double crochets and then close them together into popcorn, and make that chain 1 to close the popcorn. And now we are going to chain 3, because this is a corner space, and make another popcorn into that same space, so 2 close together. So into the corners we are going to do 2 popcorn stitches, and they will have 3 chains in between them. But for the sides we are going to just make 1 popcorn and then 2 chains. So we've done these 2 popcorns and then chain 2 just to get into this next V-stitch, and make a popcorn into this V-stitch just like we did before we got to the corner, and close the popcorn, and then chain 2 to get into the next space. We have got to the next corner space now, and we will be making 2 popcorn stitches into this space, and there will be 3 chains in between these 2 popcorn stitches. Let's make our 5 double crochet stitches first and pull them together for our popcorn stitch. Chain 1 to close the popcorn, and now we're going to chain 3 and we will make another popcorn stitch into this same space. Let's do this one as well, and we now have just 1 V-stitch between these 2 corners, so that means we're going to chain 2, make 1 popcorn into this V-stitch in between the 2 corners, and once we have done that, we'll come to the next corner. These 2 corners are very close together. Do that popcorn, chain 2 before you start on your next corner space, and then make your popcorn, chain 3 and another popcorn into this space. And don't forget to do your chain 2 after you've done your corner before you start your next popcorn on the side of your work. We have now reached the final corner of our popcorn round, so we're just going to finish off by making 1 more popcorn, because we already started in this space, so we have made 1 popcorn. Let's finish off this last one, and now we're going to do the same as in the previous round. We'll chain 1 and then we're going to do a double crochet stitch on the top of that first popcorn, and that way we will end up in the middle of the corner, and then slip stitch to finish off this round so you get to the correct place for the next round. As you can see, I haven't marked my corner spaces, but if you have stitch markers in those spaces and just keep moving it up, it's really easy to know where your corners need to be. Now for the next round, we're starting again with chain 3, which will be our first double crochet stitch, and then we will make a double crochet into the same space where we finished last round. And next we're going to do a front post double crochet, so go around this popcorn stitch and making a double crochet stitch around it, so it sort of pulls it in just even a little bit more. Make 2 double crochet stitches into that chain 2 space, and then make another front post double crochet around the next popcorn, and then again 2 double crochet stitches into that chain 2 space between popcorns until you get to the corner, and then your corner space will be slightly different. So let's finish off doing this front post around the popcorn, and now we will make 2 double crochet stitches into the corner space, followed by chain 3 and then another 2 double crochet stitches into that same corner space. And now carry on making a front post double crochet around each popcorn and 2 double crochet stitches into that chain space between the popcorns until you reach the next corner. For the corners, we will make 2 double crochet stitches first, then we will make chain 3 and then make another 2 double crochet stitches into the same space. Between your corners you're just carrying on doing your normal around the popcorn double crochet and then 2 in between popcorns until you get to your final corner. And into final corner we're going to do 2 double crochet stitches and then we'll finish off the corner with chain 1 and double crochet on the top of that first chain 3, which counted as double crochet. So you end up in the middle of your corner and then slip stitch to get to the correct space for the next round. And this is what your work looks like now after you have done 3 rounds. We have V rounds, popcorn rounds and double crochet rounds. Next one we will be making a V round. Start off with chain 4, which counts as double crochet, and chain 1 and then make a double crochet into the same space, and that's your first V stitch. Now we're going to skip 2 double crochet stitches and make a V stitch into third double crochet. Once you've done that, we again skipping 2 stitches and working into the third double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet, which is your V stitch, and you'll see that your V stitches line up with the tops of your popcorn stitches, so that's how you know you have done this correctly. Make another V stitch after you've skipped another 2 double crochet stitches and keep going until you get to the corner. So once you get to the corner you're actually working into the corner space, not into the chain. So make your V stitch first, then chain 3 for the corner and make another V stitch into the same chain space from the previous round. There you go, you made your new corner here, and we'll carry on skipping 2 double crochet stitches and making a V stitch into the third stitch all the way around, and then just the corners will be different. When we get to the end we're going to finish off this corner with a V stitch and then chain 1 and go into the top of that first chain 3 and make a double crochet and then make a slip stitch, so you will be in the correct space to start your next round. Let me just show you quickly what your work looks like now, and we can just check that it folds correctly. So put your 2 middle corners together and then flatten the sides, and you will see this is how your work will become one side of the cardigan. So that part here is a sleeve and then this part is the body. I know it doesn't really look like much at the moment, but you just need to grow and grow your work around and it will all start to make sense. But at least we can check that we have done all of this correctly so far. We are now going to repeat these 3 rounds. So we got a V round, a popcorn round and a double crochet round, and we've just done the V round, and we're now going to make a popcorn round and then followed by a double crochet round. Repeat these 3 rounds until your work is wide enough so that you get the measurement of the top of your arm, which is marked by the purple arrow on the picture. So please pause your video here, and when you come back I will show you how to join the top of the arm together and also how to add more rows to the body and more length to your sleeves. We need to finish our repeat with a V round before joining the 2 sides together. I've left the last corner unfinished. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So let's fold your sleeve so that we can measure it one more time. We are looking for the measurement for the widest part of your arm and half of that measurement. And don't forget, we will be adding one more row, so if your measurement is just a little bit out, don't worry, we'll be adding another popcorn row here for joining the two sides together, so you'll add just that little bit of extra. Now go back to your unfinished final corner, and we are going to make a double crochet to the top of the third chain from the beginning of this round. Now you made your double crochet here. We are now going to get your other side of your sleeve where that corner is, and we will make a double crochet into that middle chain. So the second chain, make your double crochet here. Now we need to slip stitch around this chain, which is right in front of us, into that space, and then that double crochet stitch you can see here, we are going to slip stitch on the top of this one, and then also catch the double crochet from your other side. So just go into that very first double crochet stitch and pull through and slip stitch into both of these stitches. So let me show you why we were doing this. We have now created like a fake V-stitch. So when we're coming to extend the arms, we can use this space as our regular V-stitch, like these other stitches around it. Now let's carry on from this space, and we're going to join the two sides of the sleeve together using popcorn stitches, and we are making them into each V-stitch like we have always done them. So let's slip stitch into first V-stitch first, make a chain 3, which is your first double crochet, and make another 4 double crochet stitches into that V-stitch. Now go into the top of that first chain 3, and then find your V-stitch in the opposite side as well. Go through that first, and then go through your working loop, and then pull through both, and then chain 1 to finish the popcorn. And this is how you are attaching your top of your sleeve together. So let's do this again. We're going into the next V-stitch, and we are making 5 double crochet stitches, and take your hook out, go through the first one, but before you pull your popcorn closed, go through the V-stitch on the opposite side as well, and then pull through and chain 1 to finish your popcorn, and then again chain 2, and same into every V-stitch all the way across. So you just have to make sure that you are joining the correct V-stitches from both sides. It's sometimes easier if you mark every couple of V's, just add stitch markers into those spaces, and you can see how you have now started joining the work together, and you will need to do this until you get right to the end of this row. And what we're going to do now is add another fake V-stitch here. So you've just finished your last popcorn, go into the double crochet what's right next to the popcorn, and into the one that's right opposite in the other side, just near the corner stitches, make a slip stitch there. Now work into the side which is away from you, and make 2 slip stitches into this chain, then chain 1, and you're going to join this to the side which was closer to you into the second chain in that corner. So let's join this with a slip stitch, and I will show you that you have now created another fake V-stitch at the end of this row. And we can now carry on from here, and we're going to add rounds to the body, and that makes the body a little bit wider, because most people have wider torsos than what they have their arms, and we don't want massively wide sleeves, but we do want to add a few extra body rounds so that it would be more comfortable to wear. So this is what your work will look like now. Just have a look at that little photo in the corner, and we are adding now rows around the middle part and the bottom part, so it does not affect the size of your sleeves at all. It will just make your cardigan a little bit longer and a little bit wider in the middle, so it will be more comfortable. And we will be doing this, repeating the same rows what we did before, but instead of having 6 corner spaces, we now only have 2 corner spaces. So go all the way around, making your popcorns until you get back to where you started from. And when we get to where we started from, finish off your final popcorn into that fake V-stitch which we created when we joined the 2 sides of the sleeve together. Then chain 2 and join with a slip stitch on the top of the first popcorn you made, and we can start our next round. Go into the space to make your slip stitch to start with, then chain 3, and that will be your first double crochet stitch, and then make next double crochet into the same chain space, and then your front post double crochet around the popcorn. When you've gone all the way around, join to the top of this first chain 3 stitch, and then slip stitch twice before you start your V round, so that your V stitches are still lining up with your popcorn stitches. And we're repeating the same 3 rounds just like before, and finishing with a V round once you have reached the measurement across your chest. But just remember that you are only making half of the side at once, so you will reach the measurement of half of the chest measurement across. There you go, I've finished one side of my work, got the sleeve and the body, and I just have to do exactly the same again, and then finally join the 2 sides together. Let's measure this again. And don't forget that you will be adding 1 more popcorn rounds, so be a little bit more generous with your measurements, and you need to have a quarter of your total chest measurement, but also remember that this work will stretch sideways once it's joined together. Place this part of the cardigan to one side for now, and we have to do exactly the same to match the other side. And with the second side, do not fasten off your yarn, because once you have finished your body rounds, you may find that you're actually in a perfect position to join the 2 sides together to make your cardigan. So what we'll do is we lie them next to each other to line them up first, and add stitch markers between the 2 sides through the V stitches which are corresponding. And before you go and join them together, try your work on so you know that it's definitely going to fit. If it doesn't fit, you can add some more rounds, or you can take away some rounds if it feels too big. When you're ready to join, we're going to join it exactly the same way as we did with the top of the sleeves, but without adding that extra fake V stitch in the beginning. So just go into the next stitch where you will be working your next popcorn into, and make your 5 double crochet stitches there to start your popcorn off, and we're now going to close that popcorn by going through the first chain 3 and then corresponding V-stitch on the other side of your work, and then pull it closed, finish off your popcorn with chain 1 and then make 2 chains in between each popcorn. And it's really good to have these stitch markers here, because it's so easy to lose track where you are and which V-stitch you're supposed to go in on the opposite side. So if you keep those markers in until you get to the next place, it just helps a lot to line everything up, and you don't have to keep on doing and redoing your work. So just make your 5 double crochet stitches and then go through the next V-stitch on the other side and then join them together with a slip stitch and chain 1. Keep going all the way across this join to join the 2 sides together. When we get to the end, we're going to make another fake V-stitch. So go into that top of that next double crochet stitch just next to the popcorn, and the same one on the opposite side, and we're going to make a slip stitch here and then make 2 slip stitches into that chain which is away from you. So let's do that. First slip stitch and second slip stitch, and then chain 1 and bring it all together by slip stitching into the middle chain which was towards you whilst you were working. And we can now carry on finishing off, and this will become the edge to our cardigan. So let's slip stitch into the next V-stitch, make your first popcorn here, and we're going to do popcorn stitches all the way around. This will be our final round before we make edging to your work. So it's sort of part of the edging for the cardigan. So keep making the popcorns just like you did them before, and make 2 chain stitches in between each popcorn, and you will see you get to your first corner here, and that corner will be made just like every other corner you made before. Just make 1 popcorn, chain 3 and another popcorn all into that same corner space just like before. We will then keep working making our popcorn stitches, but we will come to a space which is slightly different. It's not a straight and it's not a corner, it's where you started joining your 2 sides of the body together, just here. So you'll have V-stitches and then a popcorn stitch what started the join of the back of the body. We have now got to the point where you started joining your 2 sides together, and that's the base of your neck. So this is the sideways popcorn here, and then you've got the V-stitch just after it. We have to work through the V-stitch which is just before the join and the V-stitch just after the join. Your next popcorn will go into this space through both of these V-stitches at once. So you're joining them 2 together with the next popcorn. So when you're making your next popcorn, make sure your double crochet stitches are made into both of these V-stitches before and after the join. Now all the double crochets are made, we're just going to finish off this popcorn just like before, and we're going to do chain 2 and then carry on as normal, making a popcorn into each V-stitch and 2 of them into the final corner space. Once you made your very last popcorn, chain 2 and join it to the top of the first popcorn you made, and we're now moving on to make border rounds. Slip stitch into the next space and then chain 1, which does not count as a stitch, and your first border round will just be single crochet stitches. So make 2 single crochet stitches into the space and then 1 around the popcorn, and keep going like this all the way around. So you're just making single crochet stitches, 2 into the chain 2 space between popcorns, and 1 around the popcorn, the front post single crochet stitch. Like previously we were doing double crochet stitches, here we're now just doing singles all the way around until you get back to where you started from. And when you get back to where you started from, just finish off doing this last front post single crochet stitch around the popcorn and then slip stitch into that very first single crochet you made. We're now starting our second border round, which will be the last one. So chain 1 first and make a single crochet into the same stitch, then chain 3 and make another single crochet into the same stitch. Now skip 1 single crochet and into the next one make a single crochet, chain 3 and then another single crochet all into that same stitch from the round below. Skip 1 again and we'll do the same thing, single crochet, chain 3 and then another single crochet into the same stitch. And this is what we will be doing all the way around, and it will create a nice little border for your work. Now if you wish to make your sleeves longer, you can add length to your sleeves, and at the same time we can make the sleeves a little bit narrower. If you wish, you can attach your yarn to a chain 1 space and start with chain 3 as you double crochet. I like to start this round with a standing double crochet stitch instead. And we will be making a popcorn round first. So make a popcorn into each V-stitch all the way around and make 2 chains in between each popcorn stitch. So let's do our 5 double crochet stitches and complete the popcorn, and then make chain 2 and make next popcorn and do this all the way around until you get back to your first popcorn stitch. Join your round with the slip stitch on top of the first popcorn, and now we're going to move on to make a double crochet round. So slip stitch into the first space, chain 3, which will be your very first double crochet stitch, and then make another double crochet into the same space. During this round we will now start to decrease your stitch amount. So when we're making these 2 double crochet stitches in between each popcorn stitch, in 3 of these spaces we're just going to make 1 double crochet stitch instead of 2. So just make 1 there and then go around next popcorn, and you need to do it at random 3 places. Just try to even those stitches out as you're going around. It doesn't matter exactly where or when you're doing this, you just have to make sure you are doing this 3 times before you get back to the beginning where you started your round. So this is now my second one, where I'm just doing the 1 and then going around the popcorn, and then we'll have to fit in 1 more before the end of this round. Just don't do them too close to each other, because you might notice them, but otherwise it doesn't really matter where you make these single ones as you're going around. When you get back to where you started from, we're going to slip stitch on the top of that first chain 3 to close this round, and we're now going to make our V-stitch round. So slip stitch into the next stitch, and you can start your V-stitch here. Because we did that decrease in the previous round, your V stitches will not line up with your popcorns anyway, so it doesn't really matter where you start from. Just skip 2 stitches and make your next V stitch, and don't worry about them not lining up, you won't notice it when you finish your work. So just keep going around, making a V stitch, and then skipping 2 stitches all the way around. Keep repeating these 3 rounds, and remember to decrease each time you're making a double crochet round. So every 3rd round you will be losing 3 stitches, and your work will narrow just a little bit. And once you have reached the length for your sleeves, we are ending with the V round again. And the last popcorn round we're going to do just a little bit differently, just to make that very last bit of your sleeve go in just a little tiny bit more. So make your first popcorn, and then instead of doing chain 2 between popcorns, just do chain 1, and that just makes the end of your sleeve go in just a little bit more. You don't have to do that. If you prefer, you can still keep doing chain 2 in between the popcorn stitches, but I just found that that finished off a sleeve nicely, but just adding a chain 1 in between the popcorns in the last round. And then we finished on the top of that first popcorn with a slip stitch, and we're going to do the border rounds just like we did for the body. So the first one will be single crochet, but this time we're only doing 1 single crochet between popcorns because we only did 1 chain between each popcorn. So just do that, going all the way around, making 1 single crochet round the popcorn and 1 in between into the space in between each popcorn. When you get back to the beginning where you started from, join with a slip stitch, and we will be doing the final round, which will be single crochet, chain 3, and then single crochet all into the same stitch, skip 1 and repeat single crochet, chain 3, single crochet all into the same stitch, and do this all the way around your edges of your sleeve. And all you have to left to do now is repeat it for the opposite sleeve, and then sew in few ends, and your cardigan is finished. I really hope you like this tutorial, and I'd love to see your versions of this beautiful make. So please add them into the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.